This is Jeremy Robinson from iCoach Global, and we're doing something a little bit different today. I have two graduates of our recent program, not completely recent, but 2022. We have Amy Johnson and Denise Roistacher. Please introduce yourselves, and then we can begin the proceedings, and we can find out how come we have two this time.
I'm Amy Johnson. I actually go by Amy G. Johnson because there's a million Amy Johnsons in the world. So trying to at least let you know how to figure out which one I am. I am a recent graduate of iCoach Global, which was iCoach New York. Very happy to be here. Very happy with the program. I am currently a business consultant, but mostly an executive coach. I tend to like the coaching better. And that's who I am.
Thanks, Amy.
And I am Denise Roistacher, also recent graduate, as mentioned, colleague of Amy and our program. I work at a large healthcare system based here in New York, and I look for opportunities to utilize the coaching skills with the leadership development. I overlook the leadership development programs at the hospital. Also had a great experience in iCoach Global and look forward to sharing more, and glad that Amy and I passed the ACC. Yay.
So that was the trick question, maybe not a question, but that you both have negotiated the ACC. So now you're on your way in ICF credential land. So looking back on the ACC and graduating from the program, you have any particular advice for folks who are headed in that direction?
I say trust the process and trust the education that you got from iCoach Global. For me, with all the videos out there and the sample questions from ICF that were not necessarily helpful, because the actual test changed when I took it. Very subtly, like now you have to do best and worst. The sample is just choosing the best answer. In order to keep my anxiety from skyrocketing, I had to remember where I was educated in coaching and where and the practicum. So through iCoach Global, we're already coaching. We're already coaches by the time we end. So I told myself, like, just lean into that. Lean into everything that you've learned. Lean into your other, colleagues in the program. Lean into the cohort that we formed afterwards, because we're constantly talking about cases and how we get through them and what we should do. And basically just focus on the ethics and the competencies, and then trust yourself, like put your confidence on and everything that you've learned thus far, that whole experience, and bring that to the test. Because there's no other way to prepare, because there's so many different scenarios and all kinds of varieties. And then there's what they suggest, but then what you would do, which, as long as you're within those ethics and competencies, it's okay. And I remember one of the first things you told us, Jeremy, is that there's no grave mistakes. This is not heart surgery, so remember that and try not to drive yourself crazy. When you prepare, put on your confidence and your and just remember that and take the test. Stay calm.
I think that's Donna Marcus's line. This is not heart surgery. So that's great advice, Amy. So what are your thoughts about that, Denise?
I completely agree with Amy. And I would just say, just tactically, when you are in the exam, read the scenario that the ICF has laid out. There's about 88 scenarios. And before you even look at the answer choices, I would just, in your mind, assess, okay, what's happening here? What core competency might the ICF be looking to get at? Then look at your answer choices, but make your own assessment based on what you learned in the program, your personal experience, as well as what Amy shared, understanding the ICF code of ethics and their competencies. And then you can kind of look at, okay, there's 4 choices, which is the best, which is the worst option, and then move on. The ICF also gives you in the exam opportunity at the end to go back. It's a timed exam. it's a proctored exam. And so you do have, I don't know, I think most of us, we had about 20 minutes left. You can go back, review your answers, or you can just move forward and finish the next half of the exam. So I just really want to just chime in terms of, or support what Amy just shared, and just share a little bit more tactically when you're actually sitting in with the exam, how to approach the question and answer choices.
Nice.
I would
So-
also add, do the
Sorry.
prep, if you're taking it online, do the prep, as they say, like days before, not the day of. The day of, you're doing that one final prep, but you don't want to get caught up in, oh, now you have to delete things from your computer, and it just makes it a more anxiety-filled test taking process. So just make sure you do that like a week, at least, 3 days before. But I did a week, and I kept checking to make sure that as I worked on it, did my day-to-day stuff, that I wasn't re-compromising my my computer.
Great. So good advice, and I'm sure people will tune into this and take it to heart. So how did the program prepare you, not necessarily for the test, but in terms of going out and being coaches now?
You want to take that one first, Denise?
Yeah, absolutely, Amy. So I think there's 3 components to the iCoach Global program, and what really makes it stand out among the rest and other programs that are being offered all around the globe is, first, you have seasoned faculty that walk you through the steps in the coaching process, different coaching lenses that help inform you as a coach in terms of identifying your personal coaching model and what you represents to clients, and how you work. So it gives clients a sense of what philosophies or what coaching methodologies that are important to you and that you bring to the table with the client. And of course, all of this, as you're learning, you have a pro bono coaching engagement with a supervisor. So you mentioned Donna Marcus before. Donna was my supervisor, and the supervisor really is there to be a sounding board, and also to build your confidence, and also take a look at, hey, you know what, you can strengthen this part of how you're coaching, especially when you hit some dilemmas that might happen. A lot of times you're in that space just with you and your client, and it's helpful to have that supervisor there to support you and to offer advisement in terms of things that you could think of doing differently as you're building your coaching skills in the moment. And of course, the fellow participants, our fellow classmates, anchored by the faculty, we had such rich discussions. We were vulnerable with each other. We kind of lowered the veil. And that really created a nice bond, as well as ultimately accelerating our development as a coach. So there's these great factors to the iCoach Global program that's super helpful in being an exceptional coach.
Thanks, Denise. Amy?
I will say ditto, and I will add, I think what makes iCoach Global even more unique is the humanness of being a coach. I remember telling you during the interview that there are a lot of coaching programs out there. They're self-paced. They're, 2 weeks and you too can be a coach. But the exceptional coach, with everything Denise said, the humanness of it, meaning that we are human too. To go through that course and know that as they transition, I'm going to transition. I could be coaching someone and I get triggered. What do I do? Like we're talking about stuff like that as it's happening, not, we're out here saying, okay, now I'm triggered. What do I do? I think the journaling was an amazing part, because you learned about yourself and how you how you coach, who you are and who you are as a coach. I love the concept of, being in the balcony. And I think that that's just so intriguing and amazing to me, because we hear it and we're like, what does that mean? But we actually got to experience it and talk about it. And And if you didn't quite understand how to get to it through having those conversations, you're like, oh, okay, that's how I get to the balcony. That's how I can be better. That's how, and also the underlying factor that, you know, this is an ongoing education. It doesn't just stop after iCoach. And that's where I love the personal model. You know, what are you guys, what are you interested? What makes your coaching different from Denise's coaching, from Edward's coaching, from, and it's your own unique outlook and style. And it's not wrong. Like, you're not saying, okay, well, I do this different than Denise, but it doesn't mean that I'm doing it wrong. I mean, set aside the ethics and competencies, but
Right.
And I think having that model to go back to, like, am I different than I was when I wrote that, or those things that intrigued me, am I learning about them? And then the other thing that stood out for me too that I want to highlight was the lenses. Like, there's so many lenses. You don't have to cookie cut anything. Everybody is, you know, when we say we're going to meet our clients where they are, there's 1,000,001 lenses to do that with. So it's very customizable. And that makes it very comfortable, at least for me and the clients that I've had, you know.
We're referring to lenses as a way of organizing approach to how we can help somebody change. Cognitive behavioral lens and emotional intelligence. So that's what we call them. We call them lenses, like an eye doctor, in terms of bringing the focus of using that way of thinking to help with behavior change for our clients. Interestingly enough, as I've been interviewing participants for our 2024 program, I've been asking everybody, look, it seems like we have this deal where we give you an actual executive coaching client, which no other coaching school that I know of, I still haven't found it, does. So how come you think that is the case? And I think I've sort of stumped everybody, although some people did say what I think is the correct answer, which is it's a lot of trouble. It's a lot of trouble to find the executive coaching case for your participants. And then you were going to have a mentor, coach, supervisor for them as well. So it's not just find the case, find somebody who is not voluntold, find somebody who is key talent, find somebody who's not derailing, find somebody who's going to accept that the coach is going to do a 360 and accept the coach as part of the deal. And then the organization gets to have a pro bono coaching engagement done with that person. That's the matching that has to go into that. So unfortunately, other organizations that teach coaching have not gone to the trouble, it is trouble, to tee that up yet. So, but that's advantage iCoach Global. So
I think there's security in that too, because at least for me, I knew that I was in the right arena, you know, because I had the support with an actual client. I wasn't out there taking the training wheels off and trying to move ahead by myself.
well, this is a bit of a stretch, but would you want to go see a doctor who didn't have contact with patients before he got or she got her license? Would you want that? I mean, we're not doing any life and death stuff, but still, I mean, isn't it better to know that that you guys and other people who graduated from our coaching program have had actual coaching clients and not just something they've read about in a book or they've coached another coach?
Yeah, Jeremy, and I also want to share that I found in one of my aha moments was the client was also my teacher. So when you look at utilizing yourself as a tool, and in those moments where I was at a loss, let's say, or maybe struggling a little in the moment, that was a teachable moment for me, because it pushed me to develop in that particular conversation with the client through the help of my supervisor. So I was able to then, and that's the other part, that you don't have to do it all in the moment in one session. That's
Right.
the thing about a coaching engagement. So I can then take it to my supervisor, we unpack it, and then I go back in with a newly developed strategy. And that to me was so helpful.
Such a great point and a great point for us to end on. So let's get your contact information and I'll give mine, and then we will adjourn for the day with my thanks. So you are and you can be reached via.
Okay, so I'm Amy Johnson. My company is Amy G. Johnson Consulting, and you can reach me at amy@amygjohnson.com.
Thank you, Amy. Denise?
I'm Denise Roistacher. I think the best way to get in touch with me is on LinkedIn. I don't have a website, as you know, I work, or you might find me at one of the major New York hospitals, hint, hint, and feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect.
And I'm Jeremy Robinson from iCoach Global, and also www.jeremyrobinson.com. Thank you so much for being with us today, Amy and Denise. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for all the information about passing this ACC exam and about your experiences with iCoach Global.
Thank you, Jeremy, for inviting us to chat with you.
Absolutely.